Hello, everyone. Today's topic is authority and dominion. So, first, I would love to read the Bible verses, Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21 to 23. Far above all rule and authority, power and dominion, and every name that is invoked, not only in the present age, but also in the one to come. And God placed all things under his feet and appointed him to be head over everything for the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills everything in every way. Amen. When I was listening to one of the YouTubers, YouTube, this struck me so hard. So I Googled authority and dominion, the keyword for the Bible verses, and these Bible verses were there. And what I've been inspired through that YouTube episode and also through the word was God has paid everything for us. So what that means is, and also part of the Elevation Church sermon, so the wilderness is not the permanent space, but a temporary place for us to pass by. And when But when we are not in that abundance mindset that God has paid for everything and we have that authority as well as power over any problems that we are facing and also storms, then we'll be not the will become the prey, right? So let's say in the jungle, you will never become a lion over all of those problems that you're facing. So So we need to have that abundance mindset. We have authority and dominion because God has already paid for everything and he has given us the authority. So act with authority and dominion because God has already granted all of those to us. And let's say problems versus us. When we magnify God, we can conquer problems. However, when we magnify problems, we become that prey and we will be eaten by lions. Lions, an analogy for all of the problems that we are having. And yeah, so that comes down to think big and as a conqueror, because God is more than conquerors. And when there's God who can be against us, right? Even though we don't know logically and how we will solve the problem, God is always, he's not sleeping. He's watching over us and he's working for us. And so as his conquerors and as his warriors and armor and the soldier of God, our portion is to think big and act bold with that authority God has granted and also with that dominion over problems, over anything, any issues, any storms. And Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. Listen carefully. This was actually the Bible verse from Elevation Church on Sunday. Listen carefully. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it will spring forth. Will you not be aware of it? I will even put a road in the wilderness. He will even put the road in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. Okay. So that is what God is doing. And I thought about the phrases that I use. God is a slow cooker, slow cook. And that can be yes in some contexts. For example, like for the big life partner prayer, or like very Sarah and Abraham's story, it took a lot of time. But at the same time, God is also the God that who can turn things around very quickly, all of a sudden, and we gain strength, and all of a sudden we gain his promises, all of a sudden we gain his results, his answers, and his action. So I want to remind you all that God can be a slow cooker, a slow cook, but at the same time, he can be the fastest sprinter. All of a sudden, he flip things around and make it happen. And I wanted to add that because I think and I feel I sense that God was telling me, you mentioned that I'm slow cook, but all of a sudden I can work as well. So I wanted to add that sentence right there. And if you're going through storms, it's the season that you need to sometimes do your portion and at the same time leave God's portion to God's hands, and we keep praying. So obviously there are two portions. One is the action portion that we need to do from our end, and also at the same time, there's the area that we cannot touch and we cannot go ahead of him because that's God's portion. And that comes down to discernment, and the God's portion, we seek him. God, please allow us wisdom, your favor, grace, so that we can solve this problem. And at the same time, we fulfill and we do our portion to carry forth. And I wanted to share that all with you. That was the spiritual inspirations that I've gained from the church, the community, his body, and also yesterday. So I created the contents and released that on Instagram at fitwell.to. So check it out. Thanks for checking this episode out, and we'll connect next week sometime.